Hey guys, we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Cut Shield, for bringing you this episode. Make sure you check them out on the link below and use the promo code for 25% off your order. Used by all 32 NHL teams and players, Cut Shield is the premier protective player clothing designed by players for players. Their innovative cut resistant clothing has prevented serious injury to numerous players, including over 30 NHL players. Cut Shield gives you the peace of mind to go out and play without worrying about injury. Use our promo code Grove City Hockey, all lowercase and no space, for an additional 25% off your order today.
Now carried it in back into goal.
That was a beautiful passing play right there, Sean.
What a save! Woo! Talk about a move.
Welcome to another exciting edition to Grove City Hockey Presents
Hockey in our neck of the woods, and you, sir, were a very talked about person towards the end.
I'm a fifth year senior, kind of. Well, it's my sixth year of college. Incredible.
Welcome to GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock. With me is a very special guest. I got the Director of Marketing for Black Biscuit Hockey, Stephen Reyes. How you doing today, Steve?
Doing all right. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, you and Jake and Flan, I always call him Fran, Flan, and Sean probably have been doing a lot of communicating back and forth with us guys here at Grove City Hockey. This is the first time that you and I have had a chance to interact with each other. So I'm looking forward to this and looking forward to what kind of relationship we are going to continue to facilitate here at Grove City Hockey with Black Biscuit. So why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown as to how Black Biscuit got involved into roller hockey, and then we'll kind of see where this conversation turns up.
Sure. So Black Biscuit originated back in 1994. It started out in Torrance, California. And it started off just as an apparel company that wanted to do apparel for hockey. And it turned into creating outdoor roller hockey pants for outdoor roller hockey, because that's all that was really available at the time. There wasn't any sport court yet. It was either asphalt or, roll-on, which was basically a paint you put over the concrete to kind of smoothen it out. So the number one issue that we had was that, when you would fall or whatever, you would damage your pants or sweats or whatever. So everyone always had holes on their sweats, or a lot of them would just wear shorts and their shin guards. And then, that would get trashed up or whatever. So we started off with pants and shirt and maybe even a hat. And it slowly developed into, a culture that we started creating that went beyond the rink. A lot of the things that we did back in the day was a lot of guerrilla marketing, which was just really hitting the pavement, going to the rinks, playing pickup hockey, wearing our product, giving away shirts, and things like that. That was the initial, start for Black Biscuit. And there was only a handful of companies back in the day, which was like Lebeda, Rob, who I know very well and used to play hockey, competitively against him down at Torrance and other little tournaments that we had. Back in the day, it was Coho Cup. That was the only main tournament that was around for roller hockey. So then there was Mach 1, which made the pucks, right? Jerome Bennett. That's who also was one of the main vendors that was out there at the time. And then we had like Hyper was another wheel company that was out there at the time. So it was Lebeda and Hyper really just competing with each other. Black Biscuit was the only pant manufacturer around at that time. And then Jerome Bennett from Mach 1 started developing his own, pants as well. And then that's how kind of everything started rolling out for us. So it was a real small community. We started off at Torrance, California, the rink that's called TSA at Wilson Park, which now has a roof over it. Back in the day, it didn't have a roof. Now it's a facility that's still going on. The city did put some more money into it. There is a lot of ball hockey going on out there now with Chet Johnson,
Okay.
who does the tournament there out there once a year called the Chetty Cup. So if you guys ever get a chance to look him up, please support him. He's doing great things to grow the sport, getting new people to really enjoy the game, and then eventually, evolve into roller hockey and then ice. Because as we know now, even roller hockey is getting very expensive. The pricing now that you see in roller hockey used to be the pricing in ice hockey. So now everything's kind of tripled and quadrupled, because of everything that's going on with inflation and all that. So Chet Johnson's doing a great job at the root level, introducing new people to hockey. So I applaud Chet Johnson. Shout out to Chet out there. But yeah, that's where our beginning stomping grounds were. We're at Torrance, and we had one of the most bulletproof pants that we created back in the day. And if you know anyone that has those original pants, they probably will be immaculate still to this day, especially if you're just playing on sport court. And you'll notice that a lot of people today don't like that style because today's style is like they like the pants to breathe, as they say, right? Which is a little more mesh type material. But as we all know, those are only good on sport court. You
Yep.
start getting out into the rougher surfaces, none of those pants are going to live up to the durability that they need to live up to because the surfaces are just way too rough. So we still have that technology on all our pants on our knees. We have gone to more of a vented style pant, but we also still have our traditional, what we call now our player pant, which
Mhm.
is a straight leg style pant, and it
Okay.
still has our classic, Black Biscuit logo down the side of the pant.
Yeah, I always remember that black biscuit logo just striped right down, from the hip to the ankle. Always thought that was a slick look, and a lot of people don't realize just like when they first start playing roller hockey, or even just putting on quad skates just to try it out, just to see what it's like to have wheels on to play. Um, you're literally just going out to your road and just look at how well your road is maintained and how what kind of fabric can support that kind of wear and tear, especially if you get tripped up and you just land on your knees and you skid for 2.5 inches. As to how durable, or not durable those particular pieces of equipment are going to last for you. That was one of the things that I always remember with Black Biscuit is the quality always superseded when you were playing outdoors, and then it was even more amazing inside because then you could actually slide a little bit, and it wasn't just a sudden stop. Like you normally are used to. So you get a little bit
Yeah.
of okay, I can brace myself for a little bit of impact coming before it was too late. So,
Yeah, you were able to drag your leg right as well when you're
yep.
doing the indoor. That's one of the things that we really focused in the early days was to really make a durable pant because, as you know, when you have a family of 3, 4 kids, it starts getting really pricey. So being able to make a pant that is very durable and lasts, and that you can pass it down through generations, right? Like once the kid grows out of them, you can pass it down to his little brother or his little
Mhm.
sister was very important to us. And I think we really nailed that when we made that. But like I said, as we progressed, and like today, everybody's all into the whole taper, right? More
Yep.
of a slug fit on the shin guards, which is more of an ice hockey type of feel. I think that came about because we got more of a crossover now from ice hockey players playing roller, and they really like that snug feel on the shin guards, which I think is okay, to each his own. But back when we grew up, baggy was the style. Like
It
we
was,
wanted the
and
baggy pants.
I still love the baggy style pant. Nowadays, you're seeing kids playing with shorts and socks. and some of these leagues, and I'm just going, oh man, I cannot wrap my legs around or my mind around it because on top of that, you got to remember some of these kids that are playing look like basketball players, so they have skinny legs. So now you're just looking at a giant beanpole with really cool shorts and socks. I will say that the designs that you guys are coming up with are phenomenal, but when you have those wide, the little bit wide leg, it gives you a little more meat. It makes you look a little bit bigger than what you actually are. So that was one of those things that I've always enjoyed seeing. But like you said, everything's becoming more skinny jeans and type esque, and so it's more of a preferential for us older guys that you probably start to see the cutoff right around 32, 33 is where you probably start to see, okay, hey, I'm going to start going tighter. Unless you got a couple of progressive guys that, just trying to change with the times as well.
Yeah, and I think that's all it is. You have to keep up with the Joneses, as they say. New generation comes out with their new style. You kind of conform to what the community wants, but at the same time, we also stay true to where we came from. We have always been a company that runs a little larger than all the other company brands. We run a little baggier, just because when we first started, we had more of a street hip hop feel to our apparel and our line of inline pants. I remember going out, to the dirt track because I used to ride motorcycles, and I started rocking the Black Biscuit roller pants on my dirt bike. And then, sooner or later, I started seeing people using them for snowboarding and things like that. So they were very, you were able to utilize them with different activities as you felt fit because they were just so durable that it was like, wow, it's all terrain kind of,
Yeah.
right? We made them too well, I think, where once you bought a couple colors, you were set. You pretty much didn't need to buy them anymore unless you were really just thrashing them and sliding on your knees or whatnot. But like I said, I hope that from this live stream, that we get to see some people submit some of their pictures of their old original biscuit pants, if you guys can. That would be fantastic.
Dude, that would be great. So those of you listening, make sure you guys submit your Black Biscuit pants, and tag Black Biscuit, and we'll see how many we can find out there. I know that there's got to be quite a few.
Oh, yeah.
So what are we looking forward towards the future? Because now we talked a little bit about the past. What do we got going on right now, and then what's going to happen in the future?
Well, so we've always been a big believer on supporting the roots, right? Staying close to the roots because it's hard to really allow people that are underprivileged, to get into the sport, especially now more. It's getting harder again because of the pricing of roller hockey and the sticks and the skates. I mean, God, it's almost running you just $2,000 just for a stick and skates. That's not even including helmet, elbow pads, shin guards, and the uniform, pants and all this jazz that you need. So we're really trying to figure out, how do we make it re-affordable again? And it's coming down to really like just not getting too fancy with the jerseys when you're first starting out with like a lot of associations. We're trying to offer the mesh style, right?
Yeah.
We have now been able to do sublimation on the mesh where before it was silk screen.
Okay.
So now at least you get a cool logo, unlimited colors, and when you put it in the dryer and washer, those numbers sometimes stick when they're repressed. But we don't have that issue anymore. So that's one of the products that I'm really happy we have been able to develop and upgrade because it gives that nice look to it, even though it's cheaper style jersey. But from a distance, you can't really tell that it's that mesh practice jersey style, right? We've been able to find fabric that the mesh now is really tiny, where it doesn't really look like a practice jersey. So that's one of the things we're developing, so we can make it cost effective for associations that are trying to start up and brand their league and make it affordable for the parents again. So it's not very expensive to get the uniform. I mean, you're looking like anywhere between $20 to $25 for a jersey now when you join the league, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so like that right off the bat, like it's great for the parents, right?
Hmm.
So the second thing is we made a very affordable entry level pen, which is used to be called the rookie pen. We're gonna discontinue that one, which was the straight leg one, because we're not getting a lot of purchases. A lot of people go straight to the player pen. They're gonna buy the straight leg one. So we were just trying to make it affordable. I think the where we saw that people were buying that were the youth divisions where they still wore girdles.
Okay.
But even then, the kids still want the tapered one. So probably gonna discontinue the straight leg rookie pen, and we're gonna go with the pro rookie pen that that we already currently have, and that one's at $39.99. So very affordable pen. It's very durable, just like the pro line that we have. It's just all black with black biscuit name in the front, and that's it. Very simple. So it matches with any uniform that you might be able to get. So. So that's what we're doing in the future in regards to any changes to our pant line. That's probably the only major change I think that we're going to do is continue the rookie pant and then just stick with the pro pant.
Nice. So now, how did you? Now, did Jake or did Sean? Did those guys reach out to you guys first, or did
Yeah,
you guys?
it was. I think it was Jake that originally reached out to us, and he gave us the whole spiel of what he was doing. I mean, the guy had nothing but passion in his tone when we spoke with him, which catches our attention. I mean, that's when we speak with people or we even think about working with people, that is one of the first things that we try to look at is do you have the passion for what we're doing? Because as I told people, like there's not a lot of money in roller hockey for us that we make. It's more of a passion and growth factor that we even deal with roller hockey because in roller hockey, everyone's, I mean, really looking like who's the cheapest price type of scenario. We don't play that because we're in the business of making pants. We're not in the business of like some of these other brands where like they give away the jerseys to gain, say, the will business out of it, right? They'll break even on the jersey to not make any money just so they can use it as a marketing tool, which is okay. It's what would do makes sense but we can't do that, right? Like we can't go take wheels and then
Yeah.
put black biscuit on them so we can get the jersey business. Like that's not what we're gonna do either. I like to think that if we would just all collectively sit down and figure out okay what's our lanes and what brands can work with each other, then we can start having the discussions on like okay how do we grow the sport? How can we go to one rink together and put all our products in there to help them and incentivize them where we can give them a kickback, so they can grow their youth development program.
Mhm.
That's still a challenge that I've been having. And I think I'm going to be able to do that with like a show like yourself, how you're doing your live show,
Yeah, yeah.
where you bring on people, have that discussion, what's working for you, what's not. Other rinks can, chime in and see what that rink did, what program worked for them, what it didn't and then that way you don't make those costly mistakes. So I'm hoping that we can get back to a time, like back in the day, like in the late '90s, there was always like a year-end party in Las Vegas, and all the vendors in the industry would talk. Off the record, we would talk,
Right.
in those little private parties, and we would say, "What are you doing? What worked for you? What were the hang-ups?" And we would talk about new rinks that are popping up, and who can we help? And but that's all kind of gone out the window now. Now it's more of this kind of I wouldn't say divide and conquer, but everyone's within their little bubble, and they don't want to let anyone in, right? Like stay out of my bubble or whatever. And so that's kind of become an issue that I've noticed that is happening, and it's a normal progression when the slices of pie are not multiplying and they're depleting, we're all fighting over the same slice of pie. So you have to kind of get on the defense. And then it becomes a competition of like, well, can you match what they're doing for me? Right. And it's like, well, they're giving me X, Y, and Z. Can you do that? And then the part that to me is frustrating is like, if you do say yeah and you give them one more thing, then they jump ship. Then that's where roller hockey has that bad taste where it's like there's no loyalty right? We're being like poured out where it's like, well, who's going to give me the best deal, and that's what I'm going to go play for or whatever. And I think that's where like ice hockey looks down upon roller hockey because ice hockey is all about tradition. You play for a team, you stick to that team, you don't jump ship, you grow with it, and you know to the very end until you go off
Hmm.
to college or whatever. So I think we can get back to those traditions, right? That aren't been there. We're not reinventing the wheel. It's just that roller hockey is such a loose culture, right? That we're kind of hippies. I like to call them. Like the way we are, we're hippies. We're free flowing. We'll go where the wind takes us or whatnot, right?
Yeah,
So
I feel like we're a little bit very liberal with where we play, when we play, and who we play. Um, One of the things that I've noticed that I don't know if you had a chance to catch a couple of the episodes. As I was saying, like I don't know if you had a chance to catch a couple of our previous episode, but I got together several different rink managers from different states. So I got one from Indiana. Uh, um, I couldn't get the one from Illinois, but I got a couple from Michigan. I got a couple from Ohio. Got the guys from Pittsburgh, and what they're doing is they're doing exactly what you're suggesting. Is they're communicating because they're like, okay, hey, what can we do to bring in more talent, more people, and then we're going to try to create a travel vision so that way we can kind of help bring those youth guys in to get more exposure to the travel hockey that they might not get a chance to in some of the bigger cities like you would see out at the rinks in Irvine, or in Marple in Pennsylvania, or down in Florida, one of the rinks down there that Crafty's at. Um, Same thing in Minnesota with John Shivo and now Pat Maroon's up that way too. So it's really cool to see how um, these guys are actually let's just have a meeting. Let's talk about what issues we're facing, what issues and what we're trying to do to combat those issues, and to see if those the solutions that are working at one rink will help at another, or the solutions that may not work at one rink might actually help at a different rink. Because
absolutely, I think you hit the nail on the head. And I was on that note. Out here there's some pretty successful rinks. All the ones that kind of depleted and shut down, they're gone. But the ones that thrive, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. And some of the things that I found out, like for instance, Corona, Ben and Corona,
yeah,
they have a grant program for underprivileged kids that can't afford it.
oh, that's
Right?
awesome.
I'm thinking, why isn't every rink doing that? Right?
Right?
Like, how did you do it? And since you're doing it, why can't we share that information on how you're doing it so maybe the other rinks can do that and then develop their youth program that eventually creates more teams, right? For tournaments and for the in-house league, where eventually you can create every rink should have their own pro team that go from 6U all the way to the pro level where they don't have to jump ship and
Yep.
things like that. The only time you want to, not jump ship, but the only time you're not going to play with your team is when you have the All Star game, where
Mhm.
every team sends their two All Stars, and then they play it, on the East West sort of conference deal. So, I mean, I think that's a very important conversation to have with all the rinks. If back in the day there was like boards online, right, that people would
Yeah.
communicate. It seems like that kind of went away, and it's like, well, but we have better technology. Why did that go away? Why aren't
Yeah.
these networks, more available where we can all be connected and just be putting updates and people can ask like, oh my God, I just saw you guys had a grant program. Can I set up a meeting with you to kind of, pick your brain?
Yeah.
Right. And I think if we do that more, I mean, we would be way more successful. One thing that I learned last year when I went to Hockey Day in Minnesota
Hmm.
was that it was so incredible how much support the city had,
Oh
right?
my
From
god.
from a hockey standpoint. Every kid that played at Hockey Day in Minnesota, which was the first time they ever did this, where they opened up, they started a week earlier,
Mhm.
so kids from different clubs come play on the outdoor rink. Not one kid had to pay for a jersey or ice cream time because it was all paid by sponsors.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
And then I come back here, and like you can't even get a single, business to sponsor a jersey, a uniform, or a cut, or anything. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, where's the disconnect? How come rinks are not connecting with businesses? Now, I know Ben is at Corona, and then I know Irvine sort of is, but they have the Ducks behind them. But Ben is independent, and he used to be part of the Ducks. Now he's more independent. But for those that don't have like the organizations of the NHL backing them up, the only solution you're gonna have is to go find a salesman. This is an important staff guy, and it's performance driven. You give the guy a percentage of whatever sponsorship money he's bringing in, but you need a salesman to be going to all your businesses within 15-mile radius of your rink and try to get them to sponsor your program. Because what each rink has is you have a community of 600 plus players in your rink that are your city's potential clients.
Mm-hmm.
That's your bread and butter, and nobody is utilizing that. And if you don't have a salesman, then it's going to fall through the cracks where, like, okay, you made one sponsor, you got one uniform, or you got some pucks, some sticks, but then that's it. Then you're back to square one. And what was the return on investment on the sponsor? Did you promote them? Did you send them business? Like, that whole system is broken, but it's all there. There's so much money from these businesses that need write-offs, and if you would just introduce them to what you're doing, they would be more than happy to write you a check, especially restaurants and bars, because you can tell a restaurant or a bar, bars for the beer leagues, so hey, at the end of our season, we'll bring in 2 teams that play in the championship, and we'll have our ceremony here at your restaurant. So here's your return on investment. Done. They're going to be more than happy to write you another check for the next season. No problem. So you do that with a bunch of restaurants, attach one restaurant to each team. It has their logo, and now you're halfway there. The second part that's missing is what you guys are kind of doing. You guys are doing live streaming. You're live streaming the show, the games. Now you're putting advertisement available for businesses now, which is way more attractive than a banner on the wall or on the board, where you still have to do a lot of work to find out what this business is. You're throwing up commercials, people are watching it, there's a promo code or a QR code, boom, you just moved all that traffic that was watching the game that is in their city. So we love what you guys are doing at Grove City. This is why I continue to sponsor you guys and work with you, because you guys are doing, like I was telling Jake, I hope that every rink can do, where they're going to start calling you and Jake, be like, hey, we want to do what you guys are doing, but for ourselves, we're going to hire you guys for the next 3 months, and I want you guys to show us how to do a live stream show, and then I want you guys to show me how to do live stream for my games. Because then that's going to empower them to be able to bring in those commercial ads that they can sell that'll fund the whole program and the live stream. So you guys are going in the right direction. That's what I love about you guys.
Yeah, and each week is getting better and better. The more that content that I can gather, the quicker that I can edit, the faster I can get it out there. Right now, in the next few weeks, we should start to see at least 2 different types of content dropping. Sometimes you might even see up to 3 different types, just depending on if Land's got something going on with some of his highlight reels and stuff. So I mean, our content's about to explode here, and I'm excited, and I'm excited that you were able to take some time to shoot the breeze with us with this, because like you said, I mean, it can be anything. Like lawn service would be another great one, because if you're always at the rink on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, who's gonna mow your yard?
Yeah. Not only that, you forget that all these kids have parents that either work for a business or have their own business, and we don't rinks don't even tap into that sometimes. Nope. Right? They should have like a little get together, meet and greet of like, okay, what do you do? Well, who do you work for? Oh, you work for Disney? Here's my proposal for a rink. Can you show that to your boss? Blah, blah, blah. Or just little things like that, like to generate so much more revenue that they need. But just thinking outside the box. Like we need to stop. We need to get out of our hockey community, which we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just stagnant right now, and nobody wants to put the effort. Everyone's tired. Everyone's broke. So that all plays into roll into it. Everyone has life and things like that. But when you find people like yourself, Jay, people like Black Biscuit that are passionate, that communicate, it's just putting one foot in front of another and continue to have the conversations and then spread the love. Show the playbook to someone else. You don't
Yep.
need to keep it to yourself because that's what wisdom's all about in traditions. You're supposed to pass it down, especially to those that have the passion.
Yep. Yeah, and that's one of the things that when I retired in 2015, I walked away and just couldn't be around this. I couldn't watch the sport, couldn't be around the sport. It wasn't until I ran into Jake and Sean, probably late 2021. Yeah, because I think my first tournament was in 2022 in February down in Ellenberger Park in Indianapolis. And that was the first time I had stepped foot inside a hockey rink since 2015.
Wow.
And as soon as I stepped in there and I went and I took a big old whiff and I went, yep, I missed this. Like
Yeah.
it's now I needed to go through that change
Yes.
because I would have kept trying to play and then I would have probably ended up in a wheelchair.
Right.
And then joining the wheelchair hockey league based out of Detroit. I've been trying to get those guys on the pod for a hot minute. So hopefully, Dean, if you ever get a chance to listen to this, answer my emails. But yeah, no, I've been, it's just one of those things where, it just took a minute to just, okay, hey, step back. But the passion was never gone. You just love everything about it. The playing, the style, what drove you to succeed and to play at that high level. And it's great to see other businesses such as Black Biscuit stepping up, doing what they need to do, not focusing on the almighty dollar, even though essentially that's what you have to do. But you're looking at the bigger picture and going, okay, what can I do to help grow the sport, and and why not grow it together?
Yeah, and the thing that we're trying to stay away from is competing with each other, with like the pro teams where like you have to give so much. With technology today, the one thing that I have noticed with the pros versus like the youth is that the youth knows how to use social media and they're very proactive on it. I wish the pros would do that because then that would allow us to really bring in some more outside money, like the Gatorades, you know, Reese's Pieces or whatever. If they would learn to promote their sponsors on a regular basis, not just take a selfie, say, hey, I'm here at Narch Finals, and they think they've done their job. It's like, you guys are creating a bad example for these up and coming kids, that when they get to a pro level, oh, you don't have to do anything. You don't need to promote. You don't need to plug your sponsors. Oh, that's when you really have to double down and plug and push. So, on that note, so I don't know if you heard about our ambassador program that we launched. What we're trying to do is it's not going to be the typical ambassador program where we specifically choose specific players, based on, whether you're a pro or on a travel team or you have a great following on Instagram or whatnot. What we want to do is we want to give everybody a chance, to become an ambassador. And it's a performance-based program. You buy into it, you end up getting special promo codes and discounts because you joined that program that the public wouldn't get. So you're going to get exclusive deals, like when we do a drop, you'll be the first one to know, on our new products that come out. You'll get first rights, to buy it before we even hit the public. And then it's performance based. Every time you post something and you tag us, you earn points. And as you accumulate points, your status starts going up and you get larger promo codes to eventually you get put into a contest where you get opportunity to win a jersey or free pants from us.
Oh, nice.
And then the third element that I'm trying to add to it is like, if you are part of our ambassador program, and we have a list of teams that we work with across the country, and they end up going to a tournament and they're looking for a player that you live in that city, and we'll notify you and to let you know, like, hey, this team's looking for a couple players. Since you're part of our ambassador program, you can go play with this team.
Nice.
So that'll start connecting people where, like, a lot of times their hometown doesn't have a tournament team. So by being part of this program, if there's a tournament that comes to your city and you're part of this program, you will get a notification from us telling you, hey, so-and-so team is here. This tournament is from here to here. If you're interested, contact, the team, and they'll be more than happy to have you on the squad. So we're trying to create these new things, where we can just connect people and make it feasible to be able to get that experience that otherwise you wouldn't be able to, because your rink just doesn't offer that. So it sucks for those players that are able to do that, but just don't have a team in their city, period.
Yeah, I actually think that's a really cool program to really initiate, because think of it as you have, like, prime examples. There's a kid in Indianapolis because their youth program is still in its infancy stages. I don't even think they have really, I think they have double digit numbers now, but I mean, we're talking like less than 30. And so if he's in one of those ambassador programs and he's looking to go play Narch, State Wars, or any of the tours, and all of a sudden you've got a couple of teams in his age division that are looking for some players. Boom, he gets notified, and next thing you know, he's on a plane flying down to Florida, or flying out to New York, or flying out to Cali to help out a team. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so, like, eventually, when this program, I'm thinking maybe 2 years down the road, when we get enough people in the program, then we'll create an ambassador team where we'll say, you know what, I think we have enough kids in, say, the 8U division or the 16U division, where we can put a team in, and then we'll select from our ambassadors to say, hey, if you can make it out to California, the entry fee will be paid. You just have to make it out here and play in the tournament. You're already on the squad if you can make it. So that's one of my ideal dreams to do, where, like, it's a virtual team that essentially can be created at a moment's notice, because we just have a roster of kids on the ambassador list where we can throw a team on in any given tournament that we choose to.
Absolutely. I think that's amazing. So, well, now that we talked a little bit about business, let's change gears a little bit here and tell us a little bit about you. What brought you into the game of hockey? How did you get involved in all of this? And, give us a little insight as to how, this came about for you, sir.
Sure. So I grew up in a rough neighborhood in Linwood, California, which was next to Compton and next to Watts. Really rough neighborhood. I basically shouldn't be playing hockey, coming out of from that area. But how I was introduced to the sport was, me and a few of my friends, maybe 3 friends, we would basically grab our mother's broom and step on it, put a curve to the broom, and then tape it with duct tape and make it look like a stick. That was my first hockey stick, was a broom that I taped up with duct tape. And then the goalie was basically baseball catcher, gear. But instead of on the shins, we would put pillows with cardboard on top of it, and then we would duct tape that, and that would be the goalie, right? Yeah. And then they would use a first base mitt or a catcher's mitt, whichever the preference was. But that was like my introduction to hockey, like super ghetto, grab whatever's around and play hockey, right? And then we were introduced to Milek, right? We started seeing that Milek came out with some stuff. And the first time I went to go buy my stick, I went to Paramount Iceland, which now the Kings just recently bought. and now they run that facility, which is great. But I took a bus from Linwood, which took me about 2.5 hours to get to Paramount. I go in the pro shop, and I wanted to buy the Paul Coffey Sherwood stick, which was like $15 at the time. I grab the stick. I tell the guy, "Can you cut the blade off and put this plastic blade?" I mean, that guy looked at me like I was just foreign. He's like, "You want me to do what? You want me to cut this perfectly brand new stick and put this plastic blade on it?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." So, if I knew better, I would have, wore down the stick, just played with it, and then cut it. But like, that was just my mentality, right? Like, I'm some kid from the ghetto, don't know any better. I'm thinking I need this plastic blade so it lasts longer on the surface. Well, fast forward about 3 to 6 months, when I went to that rink, I saw a team practicing ice, and I basically fell in love with the sport at that point. I was like, I want to do that. So I started going to the clinics. Within a year, I made Bantam B, and then I started playing triple A, like Bantam, and then midgets. I went from Paramount Iceland to the Ducks in Anaheim, played for their midget program, and then from there went to the program in San Diego and played for the Goals there. And then from there, once I started, playing at the midgets, and I started getting into the college level, I was starting to get scouted by colleges and calling me. But my dad, he's old school tradition Mexican. Mm-hmm. He didn't know that you can get an education through sports, that somebody would actually give you a full ride. My dad said, "No, I'm going to send you to a trade tech school." So he sent me to ITT. He basically hung up on all the scouts that were calling my house to have me play out at a college level and said, "No, we're not interested," which really bummed me out. I wish talking to my wife, and she was telling me, like, "Why didn't you just say screw it and go and not listen to your dad?" I was brought up that, you respect your elders, you don't talk back, you do as they say, and that's it, period. You don't go against the grain. But looking back on it, I wish I would have had the courage to do that, and go fulfill that. And I would have had the same opportunity that my dad gave me, but for free. Mm-hmm. Right. But So everything happens for a reason. So I started going to ITT. I started playing more roller hockey. There was a team that was playing out of TSA South Bay called the South Bay Stingers. Okay. And we would play in the Coho Cup tournaments, and that we were pretty much dominating the roller hockey scene in the South Bay. We were the team to beat. And, we went to St. Louis, and we started playing against some real competition, which were ice hockey players playing roller. Mm-hmm. And we ended up winning second, which was, a bunch of ghetto kids, from different areas. None of them really had ice hockey experience, but 2 guys on my team that only played hockey traditionally, which was me and some other guy, Max Gavellini, that actually played ice hockey. Oh, and Ronnie White, who actually coaches now at Artesia and has a great program there. But, we were just some ghetto kids. And honestly, I think, hockey really saved my life, because if I wasn't playing ice hockey at that time, I probably would have been out in the streets with my friends, doing drugs, jacking cars, and who knows what I would have been doing. But because I did that, I was never home. I was never in the hood. I was always playing hockey. We would on the weekends, I would get out of the ice rink till like 1 a.m., right? Because we would do public skating. And then since I was a rink rat, and I knew the Zamboni guy and all that, he would let us play afterwards. After the rink closed for public skating, he'd be like, mm-hmm. "Cool, I got to do some, maintenance around here. So you guys have about an hour before I'm going to resurface the ice." And so we would get a lot of rink time. And my mom would wake up, set her alarm, come pick us up at, 1 a.m. And that's kind of like my journey through how I got introduced to hockey. It really saved my life. And I think it really instilled a lot of qualities that I still use today, like team play, right? Honor, be respectful, always think about your team first before yourself, sacrifice, things like that. Like I still use that today, those mentalities, those things that were instilled in me from my coach. So, I mean, hockey, I think provides a lot more value than just playing the sport, as growing up as an individual. And I think that's why I really have the passion for it, because the impact that it's had on me, like everything that I've done since I played hockey has been because I've met somebody in hockey that gave me another opportunity, whether it be a job or something like that. Like it's all been through hockey. So now I'm kind of paying it forward, where now I'm, working with Black Biscuit. They sponsored me back in the day. They ended up paying a full ride to go into Japan and playing in a tournament out there. I didn't have to pay for anything. I would have never been able to go to Japan. You know what I mean? Like my parents couldn't afford that, but they made it possible, right? Like, so, I mean, the things that hockey can do, it could be very life-changing. And I just want to give back now and pay it forward. Just kind of maybe like yourself, everything that you've gotten from the sport, you feel like you owe that sport something, and you want to, give back. And maybe the next generation can experience that, and they can be something that they probably wouldn't be through hockey. So that's kind of my story, amazing that I, when I played ice hockey, just this last thing, I was the only Mexican on the team, and my friends would call me Cholo, which means gangster in English.
Okay.
Right? So the coach, when we were like playing, he'd say Cholo, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times the coaches would be like, "Hey, we want a roster check. Like we don't see Cholo on the roster. Like who's this kid?" Right? And they were like, "Oh, no, that's his nickname. His name's Stevie Reyes, but we call him Cholo." So that was kind of a little nickname they gave me, because I was a kid from the hood that shouldn't be playing hockey. I was the only little brown-skinned kid on the team. So it was good times. Good times.
That's amazing. No, my give back now is to bring the sport to mainstream as best I can, to give some coverage to an otherwise uncoverable situation. Like nobody would be talking about it. So that's why I joined Grove City Hockey, was to help bring awareness that, hey, this sport's pretty fun and it's pretty cool. It's very inclusive. Everybody gives each other a hard time. Everybody battles hard, but the cool thing about it, no matter how hard you go out on the rink, the second you guys step off the rink, you're best friends. And it'll be like that for life. I mean, I'll never forget getting into a fight with with Derek Simonelli and one other kid. I can't think of his name, and I've got them both pinned up against the boards. And to this day, Derek and I we chit chat about once every 6 months about that, about our first chance meeting. From playing each other back in our Major League roller hockey days. So it was one of those things where it's like, it's cool because it's like not everybody can say, hey, like the very first time I played basketball with somebody, and then you meet them 20 years down the road, you don't have that, you'll have that story, but you won't have that connection anymore. Whereas with hockey, it seems like everybody's still talking about the great goal that you had, 22 years ago. But then on top of that, they're also talking about different memories that you guys have shared off the rink to celebrate that stuff, So it's really cool to see that.
There is an underlying respect value in regards to like being gladiators on the rink. Because hockey, there's a zero tolerance on, shit talking, excuse my French, that, you can throw. This is the only sport where, like, if you mouth off, you better back up what you're saying because you're going to get your clock cleaned, right? So I think because of that, when you go through those moments with people like you mentioned, and then you get off the rink because we're not getting paid for it or anything, it's that like, hey, man, cool, like we're leaving it on the rink. We all got to work tomorrow, but you don't back down, and you let people know, like, hey, like if you're gonna get in my face or you're gonna be cheap, like we're gonna go, right? We're gonna settle it and end it. This ain't gonna be like you're gonna chirp on me right now and you're gonna chirp on me the next game and next. No, We're gonna get it done, and that's it. So I really admire those moments, especially when you look at the NHL and these guys throw some heavy blows that could be career ending. That's why I really feel like when they get in a fight, like I honestly feel you need to take your helmet off.
Yep.
If you're gonna fight, throw your helmet off because your hands, that's your money. You break your hand, like you're out. So
6 to 8 weeks minimum.
Yeah. So out of respect, I feel like anyone that's gonna throw blows, take off your helmet. If you take a shot to the head, go down. Then go down at that point.
Yep.
You lost or whatever. But you got to protect your brothers, and they all have families, and that's their job. So
Yeah.
I hope down the line, like they really do something about that. At least between the players, like let's get an honorary code where, like, if we're gonna fight, helmets off.
Yep. Yeah, helmets off. Elbows off, gloves off. I mean, just go for it. That's one thing that this society tends to. What I think we need a little more of is a little less keyboard warriors, and some people just need to get popped in the mouth just for just talking the way they try to talk, think they can get away with it, because it's not very. But at the end of the day, you earn respect, you give respect, and you can't do that when you're sitting behind a keyboard, just mouthing off to somebody that you've never even met.
Right. In any other sport, you don't throw blows. That's the thing about hockey. That's why I think the connection that you're talking about is there because of those moments. Like, you'll never do that with somebody in a basketball game. Like, you're suspended and you're banned forever. Like, that's it. You'll never see the guy again. You're gone. But in hockey, it's like it's that underlying rule. Like, and some refs will let you go. Like in club teams, like if you're a chirper and you've been getting under people's skin, they're gonna let you go for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
You learn your lesson because you've talked the talk. Now it's time to walk the walk.
Those are the moments I love watching people who try to talk the talk that don't end up walking the walk. But then the ones that do end up talking the talk and walking the walk, those moments are just priceless because it brings comedic value because somebody got called out on their BS, but then at the end of the day, what do? You still pick them up, you still shake their hand, and you still say, "Nice try, bud, but next time, it'll be different."
Yeah, and then you end up becoming good friends because it's like it's been squashed, right?
Yeah,
it's not a lingering thing that you like you said you can hide behind the sport where it doesn't allow you to fight. Like hockey's not like that, man.
Nope.
Like I've met people that like try playing hockey and they come in with that little man syndrome and they get in their place really quick and they learn. They either learn and stop doing it or they don't play the game anymore because they know they can't get away with that stuff anymore.
Yep.
And so that's the big respect I have for hockey, where it's like, you know what, you're going to come correct or you're going to get dealt with. So and so for that reason, I think hockey is one of the most competitive and IQ for playing the game too as well. It has some of the smartest players because what other sport do you have to use your hands, your feet, and then skate on like a little edge while trying to avoid, all these other guys coming at you 15, 20 miles an hour? Like, man, you really got to like have a pretty high IQ to a point, I think, to even get to that point, to be able to, maneuver everything and be fluid. So, it's an amazing sport, and I fell in love with it.
I would definitely agree with you there because you're on a blade that's not even 3/8 of an inch. You're an additional 7 inches off of the ice base, essentially. So not only that, but now you're taller, you're lankier, and it's such a cool thing to be able to witness those hand-eye coordination. Hockey, I think, along with wrestling, along with your mixed martial arts type of sports, those are okay. You can run your mouth, but you better back it up, or you're gonna get embarrassed. And when you do, you're gonna look a fool.
Yeah, and that's the thing about like hockey in general. All the other sports, everyone can do because everyone can walk and run.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey, you have to learn how to skate. It's a completely new balance. and maneuverability. So that's what's interesting to me. Like, what lunatic said, I'm going to throw these blades out here and I'm going to jump on this pond? I mean, I'm glad he did it, but it's just like, who the hell came up with that, you know? And then to play goalie without a mask, like, talk about tough.
Dude, they didn't start wearing masks until the late 70s, early
I know.
80s.
It's
Like
bananas.
that is like that.
Bananas.
You got to think about that's less than 43 years ago. You know that they
And
were
even
like, all right, yeah,
with
we're
the
gonna
gear.
wear a mask.
And even with the gear, right? Like, what type of person do you need to be like, yeah, I want to get a rubber puck shot at me at 100 miles an hour? Like, you got to be some special type of guy. And that's why we protect our goalies the way we do, because that guy is taking all those shots for us, you know? So that's the other thing I love about hockey, you know, how we protect our goalies. That's very unique. You don't have that in any other sport, really.
No,
You know, how
no,
you defend the goaltender.
no, you really don't. And they're the most vulnerable player out there too, because they have all of that equipment. And once they go down, and then you put somebody else on top, you know, somebody gets pushed on top.
Yeah.
You get a blown knee, an Achilles tendon. Somebody's getting cut.
Yeah.
So I mean, the goalie is the most important. And on top of that, they're the ones crazy enough to want to stop that 100-mile-an-hour shot, like you were saying.
Right. Yeah, it's insane. And for all you defensemen out there, when you're playing, don't cross-check the opposing player onto your goalie. I don't understand why people do that. It's like, guy, push him away from your goalie, but not on him. And then when they throw you on them, then they want to beat you up anymore when it's like, you threw me on your goalie. I was trying to avoid your goalie, and you completely trucked me into your goalie. Like, those guys, I don't understand. Like, guys, you guys just got it all wrong.
So the defensemen tend to be the little bit lighter on the IQ. I noticed. I'm kidding, defensemen. I'm kidding.
That one. Shots fired, everybody.
Yeah, shots fired. But I was making a joke. So, but yeah.
But to your point, yeah, we're all a little kooky for playing ice hockey, but it's very rewarding at the end of the day, and you know, long time memories and friendships come out of it, and it's a way of life. Like, I try to tell everyone that I talk about Black Biscuit is we don't sell equipment, we don't sell pants. We're selling a lifestyle. Like, we're taking a page out of Nike. We're not reinventing anything. We're promoting lifestyle, and that's kind of what the brand ambassador is about. It's repping the brand and giving us an insight on how you live your hockey life. And we're all about promoting. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but our Instagram account is one of the most active accounts today. We've grown 2,000 followers every year for the past 3 years organically. And the way I've done that, and I don't mind sharing what I do because it's no secret, it's really about putting time in there when you post. When you post, you should always be active for the first hour when you post, because the algorithm is going to reward you the most the first hour if you're responding to your community. It'll reward you. It's what they call boosting. It'll boost you for free instead of telling you, hey, if you boost, you'll reach so and so more. Well, no, the algorithm, what it wants to do is that it wants to see that you're active in the community, that you're liking other posts, that you're commenting and stuff like that. What I do is I like to share other people's, community and lifestyle through our page where I promote them. And what that does for me is that when I promote you, I'm giving you value. I'm exposing you to my community that I have. Like, I don't care if you have 200 followers or 100,000 followers. If I like your content, I'm going to share it because someone else might like it. And so when I do that and I give you enough value, there's going to come a day when I come back to you and say, hey, do you mind sharing this for me? And because I've shared stuff for you, you're going to be like, yeah, absolutely. You guys have always had my back. So it's that trade-off, right? Like, I scratch your back, I promote you, and hopefully you'll promote us if you like what we're doing. But to me, I don't care if somebody grabs my content because that's free advertising you're doing for me. There's some accounts, and I ain't going to name no names, but there's some accounts that have straight up told us, don't use our content. And I'm just like, but I'm exposing you to my 8,000 followers that you don't have, right? So I don't understand that. And to me, it's like once you put it on Instagram, it's kind of a free for all. Anyone can grab it and share it. There's reposts. You can't do anything about it. All they ask is that you give credit.
Mm-hmm.
No one's getting paid off of a lot of the stuff that we're sharing. You know what I mean? There's very few and far between people that are actually doing it for money. So for me, it's just trying to connect the community, right? Expose the East Coast to the West Coast, Central, to the North, to the South, just trying to connect the dots like what you do with your show. I take that on every platform where like I'm posting things and I'm so tired of people, just sharing negative stuff or saying negative stuff. I try to put out positive programming is what I like to say, where it's like, yes, we know the bad stuff, but let's talk about the good stuff, for a change.
Well, the positive should always outweigh the negative in anything that we're doing right now, as far as what we're trying to promote. Of course there's going to be the negative, which is, right now we're trying to figure out the cost, on how we can drop that. But the positives, you're going to learn respect. You're going to earn respect. You're going to learn skill development, hand-eye coordination, and you're going to earn friends for life. I don't care if you're 6 years old or if you're 93 years old, you're going to have friends all ages that are going to be there for you if you need help. If for whatever reason, if you need help, they're going to come over and help move a couch. If they have a death in the family, you're going to be the one sending flowers to let them know that you're thinking of them. It really is a huge community that will always be there for you if you give it the proper respect that it deserves.
Yeah, and out of all the sports that I've played, because I played every sport growing up that was, available to me, soccer, baseball, tennis, golf, like I tried all those. And there isn't a community like the ice hockey community, like you said. Like I never had that type of bond with my players, my teammates, that I do with hockey. It's crazy. You become family so much quicker than any other sport that I ever played with. I don't know why that is. Honestly, I haven't figured out why that is, but I can't say that for any other sport that I played. Like I still have longtime friends that I played hockey with that are still around to this day. Other guys that I played sports with in basketball and football and all those, I don't talk to them anymore.
Yeah.
They're gone. But the hockey community, still here. Like they're my brothers. I can pick up the phone and they won't even hesitate and ask me, oh, is it an emergency? Like if I'm asking you to come, they're coming. Right. They don't ask me like, oh, can it wait? Like, nope. No, they don't do that. So I don't know what it is, but like that is that special thing with hockey that I think that when most people join a team, they find that camaraderie is very, very powerful.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that haven't had a chance to try it, give it a shot. Check out your local rinks. I know in Michigan it's tough right now. A lot of the inline rinks on the west side are no longer around, but there are rinks on the east side. There are travel rinks. If you have any questions, hit us up at Grove City Hockey LLC at gmail.com. We'll be more than willing to help you guys figure out where to play, when to play. Same thing. And don't be afraid to reach out to Black Biscuit and join their ambassador program. That's something that I know I'm going to have my son do, and he's only 3.5 right now. And he's already got his
baby program. I love it.
Ooh, yeah, and then we'll get my daughter in on that too, because she, she loves the hockey already. So.
Well, that's great. We're trying to get more involved with the women's sports side of things. I feel like there's a lot of potential there. I think a lot of these girls are great hockey players, and I mean, just by playing in some of these rec leagues, like there's these girls that play in the men's leagues, and they're pretty phenomenal. I mean, they can hang with the boys, and honestly, they're a little more rougher than the boys. I have to say. They're more willing to throw the body and, give you an elbow or whatever it takes to get in there. So hats off to the ladies for sure.
Yeah, the women's. I've noticed that they are a little more tenacious, and they really get after it. And They do not like each other.
Well, it's that mentality, like on the rink, like we're competing. But as soon as they're off the rink, like you said, they're best friends. They're
Yeah.
hugging. They're having fun. They're going to go eat, dinner or whatever after the game. But that's what I'm talking about. That grit that you get on the rink, and then afterwards, it's like, oh, cool, like nothing happened, right? But
Right.
like in the rink, you bit my head off, you cross-checked me, and all this jazz. But then right afterwards, like, oh man, sorry about that. I was a little intense, blah blah blah, whatever. But yeah, no, it's amazing, and I'm hoping that more people like yourself, do what you're doing, which I truly appreciate what you're doing for the hockey community. Thank you so much. I've been watching your guys' YouTube channel grow. I noticed you guys just got monetized on it. You guys have got that subscription up there.
Yep.
So I wish you guys all the best luck. If there's anything that I can do to help you guys, my trade is I am a network video editor. That's
nice.
that's why I stopped, took a break from the industry because I focused on production and I was in Hollywood and worked for Hell's Kitchen as an editor and Ninja Warrior and some of these shows and got all my chops, from some of the best editors in reality TV. So now I'm trying to bring that now to hockey. So I do have a YouTube channel called Hockey Night Insider,
Okay.
which I use the technology of smartphone LTE signals, which means anybody with a cell phone that has good signal can become a camera operator. And what that does is the signal gets sent back to me to my studio, and then I use my internet to live stream it, and I can run the graphics and ads and everything from here. So that's a platform I'm trying to launch. If you guys can go check it out, support me. If you guys are interested in doing a live stream test at your rink, I'm more than happy to do one game at a very discount price for you so you can actually see, feel it, touch it. And once you have that first game, you can go out and find some sponsorship, which that's what I want you to do, is to have your sponsors pay for it and not have you to pay for it. And that's going to give the ability for all these rinks to connect their businesses because we will have the advertisement side for them, which is what you guys are doing with the commercials and stuff. But you guys still have to go in and bring the team. I don't anymore. Right. I've made it so cost effective that anyone with a smartphone, we're good. We can live stream it. So
that's awesome.
Check that out. And the last thing that I have, if you don't mind me plugging, is I'm also the co-founder of Biscuit Balm.
Okay.
That's a CBD rubbing balm that helps with joint pain and inflammation in the body, and it helps with muscle recovery. So check that out if you guys are interested. All players that play hockey get a discount. If you're a player and you can prove to me that you're a player, I'll definitely give you a discount on the product for life, because I really made this product to help us older guys that once you get older, you get these pains, and it really helps to be able to bring down that swelling. So that's why I created it.
Yeah, most people don't realize that once you hit the age of 30, your back goes out for the very first time. I don't care how good of shape you're in, your back will go out. You'll be fighting 2 years to get back to normal, and then within 6 months after your 32nd birthday, you're going to throw it right back out again. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's just one of those things where it's gonna happen, and use some biscuit bum to help relieve some of that pain. That'll be really helpful there. So,
yeah, what I'll do is I'll send you some samples so you can try it out, Ben.
Perfect.
And then,
that'd
be
great.
Let me know what you think. And then maybe later down the road, I'll give you guys some product to give away for raffle or whatever as a sponsor, a product sponsor. I would love to
absolutely. We've got championships coming up in May, so that would probably be a good time for us to drop that stuff out.
Sweet.
So
excellent.
Cool.
Ben.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock. Thanks, Stephen Reyes, for taking the time with Black Biscuit to explain to us, a little bit about what Black Biscuit's doing for the community of hockey, and plug in your other businesses as well. We're definitely going to check them out, and and return the favor and keep supporting each other, so that way everybody can really get a chance to feel, the the great community that we have of hockey here.
Yeah, I have a little saying that says, "Together we can do more."
Oh, absolutely.
That's
Love
I really believe in that. You know, there's no need why we need to be selfish and live within our little bubbles. There's a whole world out there that we can all help each other and we'll all rise together. So, and on that note, guys, remember, don't risk it, go biscuit.
That's right. All right, guys. Thanks again.